Hello, friends. Today, we are going to delve into a highly controversial and sensitive topic, the Lolita Island incident. Let's follow the timeline and examine the background and key figures of this event from a fresh perspective, focusing on the legendary life of American billionaire Jeffrey Epstein. In 1998, a small island in the Caribbean, Little St. James Island, quietly changed ownership. The island, originally the private property of American venture capitalist Archibald Archie K. Cummings, was put up for sale in 1997. Subsequently, Epstein acquired it for $7.95 million. Little St. James Island, part of the U.S. Virgin Islands, is renowned for its crystal-clear waters and paradise-like scenery. Epstein's financial management company was also located there. After purchasing Little St. James Island, Epstein undertook extensive renovations and transformations. The island not only became his primary residence, but also a mysterious and enigmatic place. The island was well equipped with various facilities and a large staff, and it even had a private airplane landing pad. However, because the island lacked a runway, regular planes could not land directly. Therefore, visitors had to first fly by private plane to a nearby large island and then transfer to a helicopter or boat to reach the island. When discussing visitors to the island, one cannot overlook Epstein's private plane, Lolita Express. This plane served as the bridge connecting the outside world to Lolita Island. Whenever guests arrived, their flight records were meticulously documented. These records later became a focal point of public attention after the Lolita Island incident broke, as they potentially held some dark, hidden secrets. After purchasing Little St. James Island, Epstein carried out extensive renovations and upgrades. The island was fully equipped with various facilities, including a private airplane landing pad. However, since the island lacked a runway, regular planes could not land directly. To reach the island, visitors had to first fly to a nearby large island and then transfer to Epstein's private plane to get to the small island. This private plane was known as Epstein's Lolita Express. The plane served as the crucial link between the outside world and Lolita Island. Every time a guest visited, their flight records were meticulously documented. These records later became known as the Lolita Island List, which gained significant attention after the scandal unfolded. Now, let's take a look back at the life journey of Epstein. His wealth did not stem from an illustrious family background, but rather from his own intelligence and relentless effort. Born in 1953 in a working-class Jewish family in New York, Epstein came from modest means. However, he showed extraordinary intelligence and learning abilities from a young age. At 16, he graduated high school early and was admitted to the prestigious private school, the Cooper Union in Manhattan. 2 years later, he successfully gained admission to one of the world's most renowned mathematical and computer science institutes, the current Institute of Mathematical Sciences. However, the path of a genius was not without obstacles. After studying for a few years at Current, he chose to drop out. Despite dropping out, Epstein did not fall into obscurity. Instead, he quickly found a job teaching mathematics and physics at the famous Dalton School in Manhattan. The school was well known for its excellent education and global network of branches, and its students' parents included many influential figures, such as politicians and billionaires. After teaching at Dalton for 2 years, Epstein used a connection from a student's parent to land a job at an investment bank. Thanks to his exceptional performance, he quickly made a name for himself in the world of finance and, within 4 years, became a partner at the bank. In 1981, Epstein founded his own consulting firm, primarily focused on debt collection. With his exceptional skills and extensive network, he quickly made a name for himself in the debt collection industry. Through his work, Epstein became acquainted with more wealthy individuals. He helped them resolve their issues, gaining their trust and respect. One of these individuals was the American businessman Stephen Hoffenberg, who would later be convicted and imprisoned for a Ponzi scheme. In 1987, Hoffenberg hired Epstein as a consultant, and together they were involved in an investment fraud scheme that shocked the world. In 1987, Epstein became involved in the Ponzi scheme of American businessman Stephen Hoffenberg. This scheme was one of the largest Ponzi schemes in the world at the time, involving a vast amount of money and having a wide-reaching impact. However, what was surprising was that Epstein had already left the company before the scheme was exposed, successfully avoiding legal repercussions. While there were rumors that he earned hundreds of millions of dollars from the scheme, this claim was never substantiated. Miraculously avoiding legal consequences, Epstein went on to establish his own asset management firm, J. Epstein & Company, specializing in managing funds for clients with net worths exceeding $1 billion. His client list was kept highly confidential, but one known client was American billionaire and Victoria's Secret owner, Leslie Wexner. Wexner had an extremely close relationship with Epstein, even gifting him his mansion in New York as a present. Later, Wexner entrusted Epstein with control over both the management and financial operations of his company. Epstein played a role in the selection of Victoria's Secret models and attended several Victoria's Secret events. In 1996, he moved the company headquarters to the Virgin Islands. In 1998, he purchased Little St. James Island and transformed it into his private domain. This island would later become the epicenter of the Lolita Island scandals. Epstein used his connections and money to continuously invite celebrities from all over the world to this island. After the Loli Island incident broke out, the public learned that on the island, Epstein forced minors to provide sexual services and even performed sexual intercourse. Brutal sexual abuse. These innocent children were either lured by his money or forcibly brought to the island by his men. Whenever night falls, there are bursts of shrill cries and calls for help from the island, but to no avail. Because on this island, Epstein was the absolute ruler, and no one dared to disobey his orders. In 2005, Palm Beach police began secretly investigating Epstein's crimes after receiving reports from multiple girls. They discovered that many underage girls were brought into Epstein's mansion every day, and after these girls went in, they never came out again. After a year-long secret investigation, the police finally had enough evidence. They stormed into Epstein's mansion and found a large number of nude photos and hidden cameras of underage girls. These photos and videos document the heinous crimes Epstein committed against children. What shocked the police even more was that they also found a purchase record recording Epstein's purchases of sex abuse-related books on Amazon. This evidence undoubtedly proves Epstein's obsession and enthusiasm for sexual abuse. Epstein didn't just commit crimes in his mansion, he also built a massive prostitution network. The network involved dozens of underage girls who were lured from impoverished areas and forced into the sex trade. Epstein was the mastermind and biggest beneficiary of this network. Most of these victims came from poor areas near Palm Beach, with poor living conditions and poor families. Epstein's associates exploited the girls' plight and lured them to islands or mansions with offers of well-paying jobs. Once inside, the girls lose their freedom and are forced into sex trafficking and abuse. They dare not resist or reveal the truth to their family and friends, so they can only endure it all silently. Some girls even became Epstein's accomplices. After experiencing the initial fear and despair, they gradually accepted the reality and began to help Epstein find new victims. These girls will take the initiative to trick other girls into going to the island or mansion in exchange for some meager reward. In 2006, Epstein was arrested by the police and brought to justice. Due to the large number of victims, most of whom were underage girls, Epstein should have faced a severe penalty of life imprisonment. However, shockingly, the police offered a plea deal. Under the deal, Epstein could be sentenced to 18 months in prison with parole privileges if he admits to sex trafficking a 14-year-old girl. The plea deal has sparked strong public questioning of police. However, the police remained silent and refused to disclose any relevant information. Only later did prosecutors reveal that they were under pressure from above. In the end, Epstein was sentenced to only 18 months in prison. While serving his sentence, he still enjoyed relative freedom. He has 12 hours a day to leave prison for work reasons, and the private prison he is in does not have a cell or any restraints. While Epstein was serving his sentence, he still maintained a high-profile profile and frequently contacted and interacted with wealthy people. He even tried to reverse his negative public image by participating in charity activities. On July 6, 2019, Epstein was arrested again on suspicion of trafficking and sexually molesting underage girls. This time, he can no longer escape the punishment of the law. Police accuse him of running a massive prostitution network involving dozens of underage girls over the years. Next, the key moment arrived. During the court trial, a shocking piece of news emerged, bringing an end to a life that was supposed to await legal judgment in the most incredible way. On August 10, 2019, Epstein was found dead in his prison cell. His death was ruled a suicide. However, as the investigation deepened, the suicide case gradually became shrouded in intense suspicion. After Epstein's arrest, he had previously attempted suicide, which meant he was under strict suicide watch. Yet, on August 10th, this watch was suddenly lifted. What was even more bizarre was that when Epstein was found dead, his body was already stiff, indicating that he had been dead for some time. According to prison regulations, his cell should have been checked every 30 minutes. However, on that day, the guards responsible for the checks were either sleeping or playing games on their phones, completely neglecting their duties. Furthermore, Epstein's cellmate was suddenly transferred the day before his supposed suicide. This action not only violated prison rules but also provided the perfect opportunity for his suicide. Imagine, if his cellmate had still been there, he might have noticed in time and prevented this tragedy. The most striking clue, however, was the strangulation marks on Epstein's neck. Theoretically, a person who hangs themselves would have marks on the front of their neck, not on the back. Yet, Epstein had marks on both the front and back of his neck, along with multiple fractures. This raises the question, was this truly a suicide, or did someone strangle him first and then stage it to look like a suicide? Despite the many doubts, the coroner still ruled it a suicide. Perhaps this decision was the most reasonable given the lack of other evidence. But undeniably, this suicide case was too perfect, as if it had been meticulously crafted for the person committing suicide. The timing, the place, the people, everything seemed to fall into place, making this suicide flawless, but the truth often lies in the details. The two surveillance cameras outside the cell that malfunctioned at the same time might hold the key to unraveling the truth behind this perfect suicide. Why did they break at the same time? Was it a coincidence, or was it intentional? After Epstein's bizarre death, two other key figures in the case emerged. Ghislaine Maxwell, a former socialite who once lived in British high society, was one of them. Her father, Robert Maxwell, a media mogul with significant influence in both politics and the media, tragically drowned during a yacht trip. This tragedy caused the collapse of the once powerful Maxwell empire. After her family's downfall, Ghislaine found a new ally in Epstein. She used her remaining connections to help Epstein gain access to British high society and even the British royal family. After Epstein's death, Ghislaine mysteriously disappeared. It wasn't until years later that she was arrested. In court, Ghislaine eventually pleaded guilty and accepted legal consequences. Another crucial figure in this criminal network was Jean-Luc Brunel. Once a star figure in the French modeling industry, Brunel was expelled due to scandals involving sexual abuse and harassment. Following Ghislaine's recommendation, he moved to the United States and quickly became involved in Epstein's criminal activities. Brunel not only used his influence to recruit underage models for the network, but he was also suspected of being involved in human trafficking and other serious crimes. However, just before he was set to stand trial, Brunel was found hanging in a French prison, in a manner strikingly similar to Epstein's death. These two suicides have led to deeper speculation about the criminal organization behind them. If Brunel's death was indeed a suicide, why did both prison deaths end in such similar circumstances in two different countries? Is there some hidden secret behind these events? Finally, let's focus on the Lolita Island list. The names of various high-profile figures are prominently listed, but only two individuals have been legally convicted, Maxwell and Brunel. As for the other people on the list, they are still under investigation. One name that stands out in particular is Trump. He was once on this list, but in response to public questioning, he has firmly denied any connection to the Lolita Island affair. Trump claimed that although he once knew the mastermind behind the event, Epstein, he had long since severed ties with him. During the trial, no direct criminal evidence linking Trump to the case was presented. Therefore, although his name was once thrust into the spotlight by public opinion, the pressure on him regarding this case has significantly decreased. In contrast, former US President Bill Clinton finds himself in a much worse position. His frequent visits to Lolita Island have already been exposed by the media. Despite Clinton's claims of ignorance about the situation, his frequent visits make it difficult for him to explain himself convincingly. Clinton is now facing intense public criticism and legal scrutiny, and his future remains uncertain. Apart from these two presidents, the list also includes the names of many other notable figures, such as Stephen Hawking. Why were they on this list? What connections do they have to the Lolita Island affair? These questions still have no clear answers. As the case progresses and more trial records are made public, the true roles and motivations of these high-profile figures remain shrouded in mystery. One of the most attention-grabbing aspects of this case involves the hidden camera footage. It is said that Epstein installed numerous hidden cameras in his homes, recording many unknown secrets. These videos were originally used as leverage to control powerful individuals, but now they hold the key to unlocking the mystery. However, the whereabouts of these videos have become a major puzzle. Who possesses them? When will they be made public? These questions remain unanswered. The Lolita Island case is like a complex mystery novel, full of unresolved enigmas and shocking twists. As the investigation deepens and more information comes to light, we may gradually uncover the truth of this case. But until then, we can only wait quietly, hoping that justice will ultimately prevail.